Good morning, everybody. This is the Oskar Quentin debate live show where people call in on TikTok and talk to me about politics and related things. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, you'll find a pinned comment that shows where the calls start. The description also has call start times for all the debates because there's some friendly calls throughout and some time where there isn't a caller. I want to start today by talking a little bit about what's going on in New Jersey. I kind of got my start on social media by getting content out about what was going on with Metro Surge in Minneapolis and at the Whipple building, which is the federal building here out of which ICE has been operating since the beginning of Metro Surge, or perhaps since before that. I actually don't know. Anyway, Delaney Hall is the equivalent space in New Jersey, and there is some truly wild stuff coming out of there. And last night, the thing that has me really concerned about the way that law enforcement are handling the protesters at Delaney Hall in New Jersey is that they are now not allowing people in the general vicinity of the building if they have backpacks or breathing masks, which mirrors something that I saw happen here, where protesters were arrested blocks away from the Whipple building for having plastic shields, which are not weapons. They're, and it makes sense for even a person who's coming with no bad intentions, not to break any law or anything like that, to have a shield if you're press or something. I mean, rounds fly at these spaces. They're not safe places to be. There's a real risk of bodily injury. So having protective equipment just doesn't, to me, meet the burden of suspicion of committing some sort of crime. So I would just like to know how the Republicans feel about the fact that we're just restricting what people have. You're not allowed to have a fucking backpack walking down the street in certain places in New Jersey. That's the headline, right? Like that's what's going on here. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to get that out at the beginning of the show, and I'll be doing some posting on Instagram about it and stuff, because I don't repost very much. I don't, my accounts are growing quickly, and I have to very carefully throttle the amount I use my platform to benefit the causes I care about, because it will be a detriment to all of them if I just spam my followers with a bunch of posts about stuff that maybe isn't the most interesting to them. But the whole point is I want to get people interested in these things. So every now and then I see something that I really want to focus on. So if you're following me on Instagram, you're going to see a lot of reposts about what's going on with Delaney. A lot of my friends are there, and I am very sad that I'm not there. I wish I was there. Yeah. If you follow me on Instagram, follow the people who I'm reposting right now, because there are people who are physically there getting incredible footage out of what's happening there. And it's, the eyes were on us in Minnesota for a while, but I think the eyes should be on Delaney Hall in New Jersey for now. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit at the beginning of the stream. I would say hi to the chat, but I'm not gonna, because we've already got a guest request. We're going to talk to Bryson. Good morning, Bryson. How old are you?
Trump is a fucking nigger. Fuck Trump. Fuck.
It is Saturday, so the kids are out of school, and unfortunately that is the sort of kid that the current American education system is yielding. So I will say hi to the chat. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jen. Good morning. Who else do we have here from the mod team? We've got Gossamer. Jen, are you on both streams? Are you modding both chats? Calm down. Thank you very much. W in the chat for the mods. We got Diablo Tox. Who else are we seeing? We got some regulars. We got Ashley and Chris and Hank and hello, Raven, Christina, Taylor. Hello, everybody. Kelsey. Fantastic. Okay, let's see. RJ raid incoming. Holy crap. Thank you, everybody. W's in the chat for RJ for the raid. I've been getting a lot of raids lately. It's exciting. There are a few creators I watch who I didn't know were aware of me. Oh my goodness, a raid from RJ. That's exciting. I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Welcome, friends. We just got the show started if you're coming from RJ's stream. Oh my God. Sorry, on YouTube you're not seeing it happen. Well, no, you are, because I put it on the screen. The chat is just exploding. Hello, everybody from RJ's stream. This is my cat Scout. Everybody loves Scout, and she bothers me during the show. But I don't have a caller right now. So if we could, I don't think any of RJ's fans are going to be MAGA supporters. Noodle, don't eat Scout. My goodness. We're trying to impress the new fans that just got sent here from RJ. You're bringing such chaos. It is Saturday, though, so we should have a busier show today, and it usually doesn't take us very long to get a debate going on a Saturday, so hopefully we'll have a call soon. But everybody who's jumping in, I'm going to immediately start pressuring you to get double tapping away on the screen so we can get pushed out to that For You page and get some fresh viewers in here. Maybe somebody who hasn't had a conversation with me yet, because I find my return rate's not very good. And when people talk to me, they generally don't want to come talk to me again. They tend to run. The chat's saying don't pressure me. Yeah, I won't pressure you. All right, I'll take a moment to thank some of the donors, because some donations did come in overnight, which it's exciting that people are just watching around the clock and want to support the show. But I had I had Michelle, who sent me $20 on Cash App and just said, thank you for your content. You're very welcome. Catherine sent me another $25. She's a pretty regular donor, and she had a specific request, which is that the next time I have a pro-lifer up, I ask them about the death penalty. I think that'll be an interesting conversation, so I absolutely will do that. And Valila, she said, keep up the good work for $25 on Cash App. So thanks very much for the donors. You guys are making it so that I get to do this every single day from 10 to 12 Central Time. To all the new people who just came here from RJ, I have to send him a message later. Thank him for that. Let's see. The mods are here. Oh man, I am discombobulated today. I didn't sleep well. I had a dream that I was a pirate. I don't usually have abstract dreams. I have very boring dreams. I dream that I went to work. I dream that I walked my dog. I dreamed that I had a normal day. But last night I was a swashbuckling pirate with all my friends from the comedy scene here in Minneapolis, and it was a absolutely chaotic, nonsensical dream. So maybe if we get a caller, we can talk about something other than what's going on in Oscar's life. But I do, maybe I'll just keep yapping about what's going on at Delaney Hall in New Jersey, because I do think it's important that we address the fact that every time there's a big protest movement, we saw this here in Minneapolis, there's this arms race between the protesters and all of the law enforcement agencies, which are sometimes not even particularly organized or cooperative amongst themselves. Like here in Minneapolis, if you're protesting at the Whipple building, if you get hit by a rubber bullet, it might have been fired by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department, it might have been fired by MPD, it might have been fired by the sheriff's, the state troopers, it might have been fired by the Federal Protective Service that work at the Whipple building, it might have been fired by an ICE agent themselves, and if they're an ICE agent, they might work in the various different, branches of ICE. There's like Arrow and like all the other labels they might wear. So there's a bunch of disorganized nonsense that comes with the exact strategy to deal with a crowd of people who are being disruptive in the way that protesters like to be. And it's very fascinating watching a different state handle it, because the practices have been very different. I mean, I saw videos of people getting pushed by cars in a way that I've been pushed by a law enforcement car where they just kind of creep so slowly that they're not going to push you over or run you over. But we're seeing footage come out of New Jersey where people are getting people are rolling over the hoods. People are really getting hurt. People are getting their feet run over. Journalists. And I think we all just need to have eyes on it. I think we all just need to go follow some people who are at Delaney Hall. Ian Austin was arrested yesterday. They'd been targeting him. The federal agents had been saying his name to him in the crowd, which is always intimidating when they spot a person they know and want him to know that he has the attention of law enforcement and they know him by name. I don't think he's been released yet. I think he's still in Delaney Hall. So maybe we'll get an update about that today, because unless they're going to be total suckers and make him wait for Monday to see a judge, which I wouldn't be surprised if they threw the book at him in that way. I don't really know how it works if you get detained at Delaney Hall. It's jurisdictionally confusing. Which law enforcement agency arrested you? Technically for what? Do they have the right to detain you at all? Do they have jurisdiction? ICE can grab you if you're doing something bad, but they just don't have the jurisdiction to arrest you for something like disorderly conduct or standing in the street when you're not supposed to, traffic obstruction, these low-level charges that they tend to throw at protesters just so they can get them for something, because for the most part they're obviously wanting to arrest us for being disruptive and outspoken. So they have to pick a charge that'll stick. And I need to update my gift goal. I always forget about that. I think it just filled early in the show because of the RJ raid. Thanks again for that. Oh my goodness. So some days I have no idea what I'm doing. Today feels like one of those days. Today feels like it's going to be chaos for me. That's okay though. Some days are chaos. Edit. Let's make it 500 again. Oh, this little window is so broken. Confirm. There we go. Confirm. Thank you for the gifts, everybody. I really appreciate it. And all the fresh follows who came over from RJ's stream. It is usually a less boring show. Usually there's somebody here talking to me. For now, I'm just kind of yapping. I'll talk to the chat for a little bit. Let's see. Do we have any opposition in the chat? Trump is the best president ever. MAGA. First of all, no all caps in the chat, please. That's a tool left for the mods. But if you want to talk about that, I'd love to have a conversation about that. You can click the little request button down here. It's just to the right of the comment bar. It's a little pink and blue head. If you click on that, it'll put you into a phone call with me, and you can tell me why Trump is the greatest president ever. I'd love to know why you think that. Yeah, I do have a little bit of a strategy, which is that when the stream gets going like this, and this is a healthy stream, we got 230 people watching on TikTok. We've got not very many people on YouTube, only 17. Hello guys on YouTube. You guys will get attention in the chat today if it's a small stream over there. But with 234 people watching on TikTok, usually we'd have a caller by now. But I might have to start muting the opposition in the chat, which makes them very upset because they think I'm silencing them, but I'm really trying to platform them. I want to discourage you from causing a ruckus in the chat if I don't have a caller. How old am I? Don't care enough. Can't tell how old I am. I'm 30. I'm enjoying for now everybody thinking I'm 20. Because when I get a new webcam, I think everybody's gonna know I'm 30. You're gonna see these crow's feet. You're gonna see that I've seen some shit, and I'm a little tired. But we'll see. We'll see if that... It's like almost a tool in the toolbox that all the chuds think I'm a kid, because they really try to like dad mog me and talk to me like I'm like a teenager, but I'm just not. I'm 30, so it doesn't work out. Whew. Somebody says Trump is a rapist. That would be correct. You look so good, so young. Good for you. Yeah, I take care of myself. It's one of the another ironic things, I guess, because this is just, we're starting the show with a Just Us Girls hour of nobody wanting to call in and talk to me about politics. I will just say, I like laugh a little inside every time one of these chuds tells me to touch grass or like go get some exercise or something. Guest violation warning. A guest in your live has violated our hate speech and hateful behavior policy. Repeated. Oh wait, yeah, that did happen. Somebody did scream the N-word at the beginning. We'll just have to watch out for that. Anyway, yeah, I do seriously just like chuckle inside when people tell me that I'm not fit, because it's wrong. I'm pretty skinny, I'm pretty lean right now. I'm tall though, I think that's the thing. It's like if you see a guy that looks like me on an internet webcam, like if I was like a normal height, if I was like 5'7" or 5'8" or 9 or something, like that would make me a real shrimp, but I'm just over 6 foot. So I'm just tall, long, lean. But I don't care. Like I don't need to prove myself to any of the chuds online. I just think it's funny that they tell me to get out of the basement when I literally have windows in the shot. This is sunlight lighting me. I'm getting my vitamin D right here on the show. The TikTok shop is the greatest. We all worship the TikTok shop, and we do not want the TikTok shop to decide that Oscar's show is too raunchy, because on Saturdays, children like to come on the show and scream the N-word before I boot them. Taylor says, no way Oscar's taller than me. I don't know, Taylor. How tall are you? Do I have merch? Not yet. It's on the way. We're going to get those shirts that say, spell it so I can learn! Or some other Oscar catchphrases. We know that's why we kicking out Democrats, they're all criminal. Is that a sentence, Nick? Nick, please hit the request button on your screen. It's this little pink and blue head down here. Please hit that, and then you and I can talk about whatever your comment was supposed to mean, because I didn't quite understand it. Oh my God, thanks for all the gifts, Speed Racer. I appreciate that. Is this just an FAQ day? Give me some questions in the chat. Hashtag Oscar merch. Nick, read that out loud and try again. I tried to read it. I tried to read it out loud. Diava, one of our mods, is inviting all the opposition up. Just Me says, regardless, you seem to be knowledgeable. I mean, I'd like to show it by talking to somebody other than sitting here and smelling my own farts about the fact that I'm actually a little fitter than the chuds think I am. The Unk is here. Oh no, he left. You were in the queue for like 1 second. I was gonna click. We were gonna talk to the Unk, but he ran away. No. What's going on in the YouTube chat? People are talking about how old they are. Is it just me, or does the audio keep cutting out? Ooh, do let me know if we're having audio issues over on the YouTube stream. I'm not seeing anything on my screen that would indicate that. I do have a volume mixer open for the YouTube stream, so it shows that you guys should be able to hear me. But do let me know if there are any problems. Mecha Oscar. Let's see. Decoded. Gossamer could pretend to be ops. Oh, it's like, I always wonder like how hard it is to actually play devil's advocate, because one of the problems I had with speech and debate, I never participated in speech and debate in school. I have a bunch of different experience that's made me so good at speech and debate, but specifically speech and debate classes bother me because I don't think it's good to learn how to debate by trying to defend a point that's bad. In speech and debate classes, often the class gets split down the middle, often randomly, and they just get assigned one side of the argument. So you just might have to like argue for something that's bad. And while I can see the benefit of somebody playing devil's advocate for the sake of like training or whatever, I just don't actually think like make a good argument for something that you think is wrong is actually a useful strategy. I don't think it teaches you how to do anything that you should be doing. So I always objected, and I never participated in those programs because I just felt it was wrong. So instead I ended up becoming a teacher of public speaking for STEM students who had scientific material to present, which was way more fun because we just got to deal in truth. I just got to tell people how to articulate their arguments to the professors who'd been working on their programs all summer or all year or whatever it was. But yeah, the speech and debate thing really bothered me. So I feel conflicted about that. And then the way it comes up is it happens every now and then where I get 10, 15 minutes into a call and I realize the person I'm talking to is on my side. They are pretending to be a chud to like get me the clip or whatever. And I don't appreciate it. Do not do that. It's disingenuous, just literally. It is just dishonest. And I have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt on the show. I have to assume that the person I'm talking to is serious, because if they are serious and I'm wrong that they're not serious, that makes me look bad. So I have to give the benefit of the doubt. So oftentimes when the chat is just erupting and saying that the person is a troll, I'm sitting here like, yeah, I know they're probably a troll. I have to get them dead to rights on that before I make the accusation. Or they're, if it's not a troll, I end up in this situation where I end up in this situation where I get accused of running by calling somebody a troll. We got a pinned comment from David, whoever pinned it. Thank you for that. Oscar, what do you think is your opinion on what's happening at Delaney Hall? I was talking about that at the beginning of the stream, but I'll just reiterate quickly that the eyes are on Delaney Hall right now in the same way that the eyes were on the Whipple building for a long time here in Minneapolis. These are the places where ICE operates out of in Minneapolis and New Jersey, respectively. I grew up in New York. And as a New Yorker, it fucking pains me to have to say anything positive about New Jersey, but my God, are they making me proud as a Minnesotan who just went through it with ICE here. Everybody, if you want to follow some people who are on the ground in Delaney Hall, what you can do is go to my Instagram and the link tree in my bio. And then if you just look at my recent reposts, it'll be accounts that are posting a lot of content coming out of Delaney Hall right now. Because a lot of them are people I know personally. A lot of them people I've been following since Metro Surge. And it's fucking insane what's happening there. There's some serious civil rights abuses happening both inside and outside Delaney Hall right now. Inside, there's a hunger strike going on because of the living conditions of the detainees there. Hunger strikes are bad. People tend to mean it when they stop eating for a cause. And we can see plain as day in the footage and the photographs what's happening outside is not acceptable. Yesterday, Ian Austin, an associate of mine, somebody I met through the protests here, was arrested. So I'm a little worried about him because I don't even think he's been released yet. And furthermore, they're starting to do some seriously police state type things. Like they don't like the protesters, and that's kind of the point. But they're arresting people for trying to get near the building with a backpack or with a breathing mask, and that sounds unconstitutional to me. I think you should be allowed to walk down the street with a backpack. It's not reasonable suspicion of a crime that they think there's something in the backpack that the protesters might use. But by that argument, we can arrest anybody who's carrying a firearm because firearms are used for crimes. So it's real bad. What's my view on the Iran war? It's also real bad. And also Trump is a liar for doing it at all because he said that they wouldn't. So I don't know. Is this a friendlies only stream? What is going on? Have I defeated all of the MAGA? I have 260, almost 300 people watching between the two streams, and I'm just yapping. It's just me talking about random shit. I want to talk to somebody. Ooh, Jay wants up. Jay, can I go to the invite box? Am I going to find Jay in there? TikTok, please put a search bar at the top of your request box because there's 300 people watching. I'm going to have a hard time finding Jay. Can somebody get Jay invited up? I'm going to see. Oh, can I scroll? Yes. Okay. Jay, I just saw it on top of my screen. One of our mods invited you up. So Jay, if you want to join the call, please do. Because I'm here to chat. I'm not afraid of any topics. I get sick of certain topics. RJ got like 5 people in 3 hours. Oh, maybe it's a slow day for the chuds. Oh, and I forgot to turn off the bleep again. I keep forgetting. Diava sent me instructions on how to turn off the TikTok bleep that TikTok just unilaterally turned on for everybody on Thursday, I believe. So if you're hearing me getting bleeped over on TikTok, don't worry. The podcast recording does not have a bleep on it. Ooh, thanks for the glasses. What are those called? Sent what? Love glasses? Thanks for the love glasses, Luna. I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate all the gifts. You know, and the support and the super chats over on YouTube and the subscriptions in all the various places. There's all these little ways where money trickles in, and right now it adds up to the fact that I get to do this full time. I get to give this 100% of my attention. I do this show, I edit the clips, and I work around that. Monday through Thursday this coming week, the show is not going to be during the normal time, 10 to 12 Central Time. It's going to be 1 p.m. again, because those are my last 4 days at my day job. They were scheduled like months ago, and I just didn't want to fuck over my job. I didn't want to fuck over my coworkers, so I'm going to do those last few shifts. But I hadn't been taking shifts at that job for a while because I'd been depending on this. But I am like formally quit. I'm not going to be getting any more hours at that job. Josh wants up. There are the bleeps. The bleeps seem to explain the bleep with TikTok, please. So, fuck. I can, like, what the fuck is going on with the bleeps? On YouTube, you're not hearing it, but over on TikTok, the fuck word tends to get bleeped pretty aggressively, but there's an auto bleep system. Everybody thinks I have a foot pedal and I'm doing it. People are like, how is he doing the bleep? I'm not doing it. I don't want to be censored. I want to be able to say bad words. But TikTok gave us all a message on Thursday that basically said, hey guys, we noticed that there are some bad words being said by hosts, so we're going to bleep the hosts and not the guests that come up and scream the N-word, as our only guest today did. We're just going to bleep the host for saying the fuck word, even though he's a grown-up. So, yeah, I don't know. Got to turn that off. Always battling the terms of service because free speech is dead. We don't have a town square. I could go yell about my opinions on the street corner, and the only rules I'd have to follow are the ones in the Constitution. But nobody would listen, because that's not really how public discourse works anymore. So we have a situation where the First Amendment's great, but it doesn't apply. Like right here on YouTube and on TikTok, there is no First Amendment. These are both private platforms where the rules are established not by any law enforcement agency, not by the Constitution of any country, not by any particular approach to human rights or anything like that, but just at the whim of those who run the platform. Because it is their First Amendment right that gives them the right to deplatform me. So we're in a touchy spot with free speech right now. Oh my God, did we get a caller? We got tokenYTguy.
That's tokenYTguy, but okay.
Ah, I see. YT, white guy. Great. How old are you?
54.
54. I'm guessing you support Trump?
I support what's right. I support the Constitution above everything.
Oh, yeah, that's an approach I take on Trump a lot, because he fucking hates the Constitution and violates it all the fucking time.
Okay, if you say so.
I do say so. He also said so himself when an interview asked him. He was talking specifically about deportations and the fact that there's so many people to deport that it will be quite the task to make sure that they all get their due process. And the interviewer asked him specifically if he has to follow the Constitution and make sure that that those people get their due process. And he responded, I don't know. How do you feel about a president who doesn't know if he needs to follow the Constitution, regardless of what the context is?
Well, here's where we're gonna differentiate. I'm not your typical constitutionalist, okay? I happen to believe that there's things going on in this country that most are just overlooking.
Sounds to me like you're not a constitutionalist at all.
Oh, but I am. See, you're trying to pin me down for this specific thing that's going on, and I'm saying there's a larger picture.
Okay.
Do you believe that we're a corporation? That this country is a corporation?
Not by like technical legal definitions, no.
Do you believe that we're a democracy or a republic?
I think that a republic is a type of democracy. We're not a pure democracy. I think that's what you were asking. Okay,
so show me where it says in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, show me where it talks about a democracy like you just described the republic.
Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull the same line I came up with on the spot the other day. If I say I'm going to punch you in the face, show me where that sentence has the word threat in it.
That has nothing... Okay, literally does not say democracy in the Constitution.
Oh yeah, you're just gonna breeze past. Wait. So just wait. You want it? Nope. You're gonna hold on. You're gonna wait because you breezed right past it. Show me where the word threat is in the sentence. I'm going to punch you in the face.
You still haven't answered my question yet. You expect me to answer to yours.
I presented an analogy that demonstrates that your question is silly. The point is that the word democracy isn't in the Constitution, but that doesn't mean that the Constitution doesn't describe a democracy.
A democracy. A democracy.
A type of democracy, yes.
It's not even pinning it down, but it pins down that we're a republic. Now,
yes, a republic is a type of democracy.
You let me get one sentence in, and then you fucking, excuse my language, I'll get banned for that. Sorry about that.
No, you can say fuck on my show. It's all grown-ups here, and you're saying plenty of bullshit, so the fuck words are going to come out. But I am going to stop you when you say some bullshit.
Sentence. You don't want me to complete it. Thank you. Now, when you're talking about the Constitution, you can't forget the Federalist Papers. Now, you tell me what to say about democracy in the Federalist Papers.
Oh, I'm not super educated on the Federalist Papers. Wasn't that before the Constitution?
Wow. No. Yeah, it would be, because it's the debates and discussions that created the Constitution. So when you're talking about the Federalist Papers and you look into it, you'll find that it's specifically, they didn't want the democracy that you guys are proposing that we're supposed to be.
I take issue with that, and I'd like to explain. No, stop. Before you move on, before you move back.
Now, your argument shows me
I could give you a trivia question that you'd fail. I'd come up with a date or something. The reason I don't think it's
important.
important.
About a trivial question. I'm going to
answer.
Facts.
I'm going to answer your concern about me not being knowledgeable about the Federalist Papers. Are the Federalist Papers the law of the land? Are they what's interpreted by the judicial branch? Are they what's legislated?
What created the law of the land? Are they what created the law of the land? They are the debates and discussions
answer my question.
That created the Constitution.
I don't use the mute button on my show, so I'm going to talk over you until you answer my question. Does the current legal system in this country depend on the Federalist Papers at all, or was that just scratch paper that people did the work on while we were coming up with all sorts of ideas that we eventually refined into the Constitution?
Oh, I see. So all the research and debating and discussion.
Please answer the question.
With the priceless. I am answering your question. You're saying that all the research and all this precious documentation and scratch paper, like you want to call it, is meaningless to the Constitution. And I'm saying that it's not. It's actually what formed the Constitution. They sat down to discuss, what are we going to do? Here's what we're going to do. Well, we should have democracy. No, we're a republic. We should have this. We should no. The whole essence of the Federal Papers is what is in the Constitution and what's not. But there are things in the Federalist Papers that they decided to not put in the Constitution.
What did I just say?
The Federalist Papers.
The history is important.
Things that are in the Constitution and things ought not to be in the Constitution. I said both.
If we're interpreting the Constitution, we actually look forward at, the Constitution was put into effect, ratified in 1789. And then after that, there's been all these amendments and Supreme Court decisions about how to interpret it and use it for the law of the land. And that's important because it affects actually what the rules are. And you want to go backwards to before the Constitution was ratified and look.
My guy, I'm pretty layman, so let me put it this way. I'm not Michael Jordan. Okay? Michael Jordan's not Michael Jordan unless he puts in the work. The Federalist Papers is the work. The Constitution is Michael Jordan. I can't put it any simpler than that. And in the Federalist Papers, they discuss democracy.
The issue we're having in this call, you said that you couldn't put it any simpler, and the issue that we're having in this call is that I'm not allowed to say anything that isn't simple because you can't listen for more than 15 seconds at a time. These are complicated things that we're talking about, and you're getting upset about the fact that I have some slightly nuanced. You're just cutting me off as I tried to say it's complicated and nuanced.
Liberals make things nuanced. They need it complicated so people don't understand it. It's a very simple concept. You research first, and then you put out something. You don't just say, "Hey, we're going to write a document." Okay, let's not talk about it.
Okay, so you don't think that constitutional you're going to run? He's going to run. He thinks that constitutional arguments aren't nuanced, so he's going to run. Oh man, and we had some friends in the chat. I'll let them up for a moment just to say hi. Midwest Progressive and Law of the Wild are here. I think that guy was a track star, and that's a real compliment for me because I'm quite a fast runner. I don't think he liked talking to me one bit. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Midwest.
Hey, Law.
That was a fun one.
Couple of things here. He said, "Is the U.S. a corporation?" That's a sov-cit line. So I think you were talking to a sovereign citizen.
Yeah, I got that taste in my mouth.
Yep. But secondarily is he talks about the Federalist Papers decrying democracies. It literally says in Federalist 10, it's talking about pure democracy. So that's mob rule. And that's not what we have. A republic is a form of government. That's where there's representatives. Mm-hmm. A democracy is a type of government. So that is the way that government gets its power. Any government that has its power derived from the people is a democracy, and our form of democracy is a republic. They're not antithetical to each other. But one thing he said that just shows his summit to the peak of Mount Dunning-Kruger is he talked about the Federalist Papers influencing the Constitution. And that's not what happened. The Constitution was ratified in September of 87. The Federalist Papers was advocating, or I'm sorry, it wasn't ratified. It was drafted in September of
I got it right this time, right? It was drafted then, ratified 1789.
Yep. So it was already signed off on by the delegates in September 17th of 1787. The Federalist Papers were October 87 to August of 88, trying to get the states to ratify the then existing Constitution. There were no modifications that were made to the Constitution, say for the Bill of Rights, after the delegates signed it and it was ratified in 1789.
Yeah, I mean, and on the face of it, he just wants to look at something that's other than the Constitution to defend his position as a constitutionalist, which is just fucking absurd on the face of it. Whether or not his specific argument about them is right.
Well, you're only getting three people's point of view from the Federalist Papers. It was just John Jay, Hamilton, and Madison that, they were advocating for it. It wasn't all of the framers of the Constitution. It was them trying to make their point heard.
Yeah.
It was just letters to the editor saying, here's why you should ratify the Constitution.
Well, and I was like a little ill-equipped because I'm not super educated on what's in the Federalist Papers because I do know what they are, and I just happen to know they're not all that important to an understanding of how the Constitution functions. But sucks to be that guest because I did open a tab, which means when I have my research hour later, I will go down a little rabbit hole and I will learn everything that I think is relevant to know about the Federalist Papers. So if I ever cross paths with that particular asshole again, it's going to go even worse for him. Every conversation makes me stronger because I bookmark the thing and read it later. So I'll get educated on the Federalist Papers. We'll see if there's anything interesting in there. But
and then sometimes they'll throw out, well, you have to read the Anti-Federalist Papers too. And it's like the Anti-Federalist Papers were even more concerned about federal power than the Federalist Papers were. The states, the only reason that the states agreed to ratify the Constitution was in large part due to an agreement that they would have a Bill of Rights that's kind of solidified some areas that the government could not wander into or could only wander into with limited scope. And that was the scope of the Anti-Federalist Papers, was saying, yes, the Constitution's good, but here's some things that we think it needs to be improved on. They weren't necessarily advocating for not having a constitution, but for providing some more guardrails on the federal government. So neither of them are slam dunks into trying to establish some sort of there's the words of the Constitution, but then here's what they really mean because of the Federalist Papers or the Anti-Federalist Papers. Both of them were literally advocating for the ratification of the Constitution.
Yeah. I mean that's all interesting. That's all good history. I don't think we were going to have a nuanced conversation about history with that guy. I think he was just looking for something he could get me on the. It's always a frustrating call when somebody gives me that little detail and then says, "Oh, you didn't know a detail. I'm just going to run." And then it's like, dude, oh man, I'm so much more educated on the history than a lot of other hosts. Like, I wish we could actually do the battle. It would be entertaining for everybody if we could just actually talk about the history. But you're too much of a persnickety asshole to move past the fact that I didn't get a piece of trivia right. And I also did know what they were. I just don't know much about their content, but it's just not the Constitution. It's like you throw out who was the junior delegate from Virginia to this constitutional convention? It's like the fact list every name on the Declaration of Independence. It just doesn't. It's not important.
Yeah, throwing out all those things. But he got the broad strokes incredibly wrong. So as impressed as he might be with himself for knowing some minute facts, his overall take was hilariously wrong. You can drop me down for the algo.
Appreciate you, Law of the Wild. Always happy to talk. Midwest, right. Are we going to have a beer soon? Is that happening?
Sure. I'll be up in Minneapolis probably the end of July.
Ooh, round about my birthday. Maybe maybe you'll come celebrate my birthday with me.
I got a family reunion up outside of the Hayward area, but we'll be visiting family up in Minneapolis too.
Cool. I think I have another caller. Shall I drop you for the algorithm?
All right, sounds good.
Thanks for hopping up. We're going to talk to Splinter. I've talked to a few Splinters, so I don't know if this is a new Splinter or an old Splinter. Splinter, how old are you?
What's up? What's up, Snaggletooth? How you doing today?
Doing great. How old are you?
Old enough, bud.
All right.
Over 18.
No, I need to know how old you are for a couple of reasons, but I'm just going to insist that you tell me.
18 and a half. 18.5 is my age.
All right. So you're going to be difficult. I'm just going to point out to everybody that we've started the conversation with somebody who's attacked my appearance who doesn't have their camera on. Do you want to turn your camera on so it's a fair fight, or are we just going to move on?
No, I want you to get some fucking braces, you loser.
Linktree in the bio. Send me some money. The show's doing well for my livelihood.
No, how about you go get a fucking job so you can pay for your braces yourself, you fucking punk loser.
I'm paying for them myself by talking to people like you. People are so entertained by how I handle people like you that they're going to send me enough money that I can go get some new chompers. Teeth fund.
Yeah, but bro, it's
Linktree in the bio.
Hold on. The thing is, it's going to take like 20 years for you to get enough money because you only make like $3 a day, you fucking dingqaling.
Oh, right. You're dingqaling guy. I remember you. Yeah. What are we talking? Are we going to talk about anything substantive?
Why you're so worried about Donald Trump when you should be worried about your appearance? Look at you. You're like a puny little scrawny fuck who doesn't even work out, bro. I bet you can't even bench press your own weight.
I can bench press my own weight.
No, you can't, dude. What do you weigh, 120 pounds?
About $160.
No, you don't. Stop fucking capping, you liar. You're 120 pounds solid fucking soaking wet, dude, in the shower.
Okay. Are we going to talk about anything substantive?
Yeah, Donald Trump wants you to drink some protein shakes and go to the fucking gym, you punk loser.
I got to remove you for
fucking
what?
retard.
Well, let's see. Yeah, slur-n-run. He knew he already got the ding. There's a TikTok thing for Mr. Dingqaling. We're going to talk to Pontiac Stan after I remind everybody that if you want me to get some new chompers, you can support the show and my livelihood by going to Linktree in my bio. You can follow me on the other platforms. That helps me immensely. Doesn't cost a dime, but if you have a dime that you want to spare, you can send it to my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon so that I can send that money to the people who, own the building that I live in and the store that sells all the food I eat, Love doing that. Anyway, thanks for listening to the ad read. We're going to talk to Pontiac Stan now. Maybe he's going to be polite enough to not insult my teeth right away and maybe tell us how old he is. Pontiac Stan, please connect so I can ask you how old you are. How old are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. How old are you?
31.
31. Are you a Trump supporter?
No. I just wanted to say that last guy sucked really hard and he's an idiot.
Yeah, I would argue that he is a dingqaling. Personally, I think that's the word I'd use for him. Thanks for hopping up. We're gonna talk to. Oh, he's back. Yeah, but you got removed, Splinter. We gotta wait 10 minutes, don't we? Splinter, he didn't. He only got halfway hard during that conversation. He needs to come back for the rest. We're gonna talk to B Flyer, letter B space Flyer. We're gonna see if this is an actual conversation worth having or worth listening to. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 39.
Sorry, Noodle, get out of there. Sorry, my dog is like messing with cables underneath my desk. Noodle, what are you doing? Get out of here, girl. Sorry. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 39. I just wanted to say Splinter's a bitch. And he's
correct.
He needs to turn his camera on because he's probably a big fat little pussy.
Yeah. I'm gonna kick you because I actually don't want to get the harassment and bullying flag. You got to be more creative. If you want to come up and insult the previous caller, is allowed, but you gotta keep it not schoolyard insults or the TikTok auto flag system will get upset at my account. So you gotta call him a dingqaling or something. That's the thing. He has an insult that he uses that he knows doesn't get him flagged, but he can't control himself. Splinter's the only one in the queue. I'm just gonna let him sit there because it's fun for me to know that he's listening. But no, I'm not gonna accept you into the queue, Splinter. Don't be silly. You already got a ding, dude. Like, Splinter, here's the problem. I'm willing to platform you. You're allowed to come up and be mean to me. It's actually pretty good for the views. I get some good clips out of it. But you just have to follow the fucking TikTok rules, dude. We were just talking about that, how there isn't free speech. I'm willing to let you show with your free speech how much of a deplorable piece of garbage you are. That's cool, but TikTok isn't. So you just gotta learn the rules if you want to keep calling me a dingqaling. Anyway, that's it. That's all the Trump supporters on this Saturday. Don't believe it. There's no way. 335 people watching on TikTok, 46 people watching on YouTube, almost 400 people here, and not one of them is a Trump supporter who wants to hit the request button, this little pink and blue head down here that'll let you join in a conversation with me. I'm not going to bite your head off. I know I bit Splinter's head off, but he did start by calling me Snaggletooth, which kind of just sets the tone. But my audience knows, the chat will tell you, I'm pretty chill by default with everybody. I only give what I get. So if you're polite and we want to have a rational, calm conversation about Trump being a piece of shit, that's fine. It'll be chill. I promise. We're gonna see if Keegan, Keaghon, we're going to see if Keegan is one such person who's willing to have an adult conversation between well-mannered individuals who care about their country. How old are you?
I am 20.
20. Do you support Trump?
No, I do not.
All right, let's just looking for a Trump supporter. We're right in the meat of the show after 11:30 Central Time, which is about an hour from now. I get much looser with the type of calls that we take. So if you want to just hop up and chat, if you got some questions for me, if you got something you just want to talk about on my platform, that's all good. Just for like an hour and a half, I'm pretty strict on trying to keep it oppositional because that's what the show is for. Look at Splinter just sitting there festering in the request queue. Gonna go to the guy after him. We're gonna talk to Benny Brumley 667, and maybe 40 minutes into the show, we'll have a meaningful conversation about something. How old are you?
I'm 73.
73. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, and you're a piece of shit.
Well, hold on.
You're a dumbass
Hold on.
Democrat.
TikTok's going to flag you for saying it that way. Can you say it more creatively?
I don't care.
I mean...
Democrats go jump in the swamp. Y'all are useless.
Sir.
Y'all are useless.
Hey, dude, can I talk to you for like just a second, please?
Yeah.
I run this show to understand people like you. I don't want to be mean to you. I don't want to I'm not interested in those games. Like oh god damn it. I got to remove you.
Good.
Yeah, TikTok, yeah, and my live visibility is restricted. We got a lot of trolls today. I might have to reboot the stream. Mods, let me know if I should reboot the stream. Diava knows best, I think, on that because she deals with a lot of people. See, I tried. We're going to talk to Charlie Collins, and maybe he'll make us survive the 10-minute restriction, or maybe I'm going to get a 3-day ban for even trying today. We'll see. Somebody says I should reboot. All right, I should reboot. Charlie, I genuinely want to talk to you. I hope you were listening to the way I handled that previous call, and you can see that even, like I was 73. Like, I actually did want to know why that guy's calling and telling a person 43 years younger than him a bunch of, like, childish insults. Charlie, please, I'm going to reboot the stream on TikTok. Guys on YouTube, you don't have to do anything. This doesn't have anything to do with you. But everybody here on TikTok, I am going to reboot the stream, so just make sure you're following me. Or if you don't want to follow me, you don't even have to. You can just sit here and wait. And when the stream ends in about a moment here, you'll see a picture of my face on the screen, me with my guitar. You can just click on that, go to my profile, wait a few seconds, refresh it until the red circle comes back, and click on that, and we'll be right back in the live stream. I'm only going to be off for like 2 seconds. And the only reason I'm sitting here yapping is to give everybody enough time to follow me if that's the way that you want to get back. And thanks for all the gifts, everybody. Don't care enough to send in Panther Paws. Thank you very much. But yeah, I will be back in like 5 seconds. So I'm going to hit end live and now, and then I'm going to hit go live. People on YouTube, just us. Oh my God, I can say whatever I want. I can say fuck. I can say, wait, what am I not allowed to say on TikTok? I can say... I can say that the president is probably guilty of child rape. I'm allowed to say that because I'm not live on TikTok right now. Oh, how glorious. Okay, now I'm live on TikTok again, so I need to keep it chill. Anyway, that was fun. Let's see how quickly we get back. We had 350 people watching, and we already got another 100 followers, which, does that mean I'm over 10,000 on TikTok? That would be exciting. Oh, I should have muted my phone. Yes! Look at that! Look at that! I'm gonna cover the top of my phone in case I get notifications, but is it gonna look at that 10K. Thanks RJ. I'll have to thank RJ for stream rating me over 10K on TikTok. So yay, 10,000 followers. We love the TikTok shop, which is now going to do business with me because I have 10,000 followers. That's exciting. I had some people were like, you have 10K, and it was showing me like 9,800 because my TikTok follower count keeps bouncing between two numbers. It keeps switching back and forth. I think like they purged some mods or something, and the number just is updated in some places but not other places. Yeah, I was just waiting until both numbers were above 10K to celebrate it. So this has been a pretty silly stream, but 10K, what up? I hope Charlie comes back, and I want that 73-year-old to come back. I could feel in the tone of his voice. I think he was surprised that I just wasn't taking the bait. I'm not going to take the bait on a 73-year-old who talks that slowly. Like I want to see what that guy's about. That's why we do the show. 10K is pretty exciting. The total is pretty crazy. Am I over 70K on Instagram? My total follower count right now is like, I don't even know. I don't like it's so hard to calculate now, but it's something like 110,000. And I started in February, so like, holy shit, everybody! Thank you. Oh, we're gonna talk to Rossochs, ROSSOCHS 4 for me later when I'm putting that name in the description of the YouTube video. By the way, everybody in YouTube, remember call start times are in the description. How old are you, Rosso?
Hi, I am. I just turned 27. I just want to say I'm not a Trump supporter, but I just want to let you know I've been watching your like clips and your VODs and everything for the last 2 days. I've been homesick from work. I'm obsessed, and I love you, and you're fantastic. And I'm gonna keep watching your lives when I catch them before work every day. And I'll be in the chat, and I hope we can get to know each other because I like you. You're cool. I'm from Michigan. I don't know how long you've lived in Minneapolis. I'm obsessed with like the hip hop scene around there. So I think that's really cool. I don't know if you're familiar with like Atmosphere and all them, but I just think it's really cool, and I like you a lot. And I just wanted to let you know that.
W's in the chat for Rosso. Thank you so much for hopping up and saying those kind words. And you can always hop on after 11:30 Central Time. No guarantee you'll get on because the show has gotten kind of busy. But yeah, I love. It's such an honor that people binge me. It's such a weird thing when somebody tells me that like, hey, I just watched every episode, and I'm like, you just watched 200 hours of me? Like what do you mean? Yeah, it's incredible. The mods are reminding the people watching on YouTube to like the stream. I gotta remember to say the YouTube things. I'm newer to streaming on YouTube at the same time, so I haven't quite learned all the reminders I'm supposed to give to keep the stream healthy over there. But the numbers have been pretty decent for a smaller account that just started streaming. But W Rosso, if I got that username correctly, I hope I was pronouncing it correctly. But W's for everybody who's supporting what I'm doing just by listening, because it's a huge deal to me that people are just taking in large volumes of me. It's the clips that are successful, these 3-minute videos that get lots of views on Instagram, but they're just advertisements for people to come watch this. You know, I if I'm gonna have an influence over the political zeitgeist of America, it's not gonna be through 3-minute clips where I'm like dunking on people who are not so good at reading. It's probably gonna come from people listening to me for a long time and seeing that my worldview is an educated and reasonable one, and that my political and social and ethical perspectives are worth having. And I think that I just can't fit that in 3 minutes, so it just kind of, you know, it comes across from watching me for hours. So if you're watching me for hours, I'm just excited that you value my perspective so much to give me that much of your precious time and attention. I like the number. E like the number? E like the number?
Yeah, E like the number. Yep,
oh,
that's right.
Yeah. Well, it should be a lowercase e then, right? It's an uppercase E in your username. Shouldn't it be a lowercase e? E's a constant in math. Anyway, how old are you?
I'm 33, just turned 30.
33. Are you a Trump supporter?
Sometimes. I support some of his policies, and then others I do not.
I think he should be impeached. Do you think he should be impeached?
For his civil crimes or for his business crime? Or just because he consistently challenges the Constitution?
Mostly that last thing, but really the broad question is, do you think there's anything for which he should be removed from office? And because I think that there is, and I think that if your answer to that question is no, that makes you a Trump supporter. That's what a Trump supporter is, if you don't want him removed from office at this point, because we're far away from the election. I'm not really concerned about Harris anymore. And you do have a lot of background noise. If you could go to a quieter space, that'd be good for the show. That would be good for more people being able to listen to you, because people tend to leave the stream when there's a lot going on in the background.
All right.
But it sounds to me like you don't want him removed from office.
Okay. So yes, I believe that he has done things that are incongruent with the public office of the president, and us he works for us, right? The American citizens.
He's a public
servant.
Yes.
Article 2 of the Constitution, that the president gets his power from the people. And so the real question is has he done things that have usurped or misused his power? And has he been benevolent to the people? And if we look at all of his actions over time, he obviously has not. But I would also argue that most presidents have not. and have misused their power at some point. I think he may just be the most egregious.
Yeah, I think he's obviously the most egregious, so we don't need to argue that. But I guess what's important to point out is, I'll just regurgitate what I always say about, other presidents do this too, because I really do take issue with that argument. When I am willing to admit that it's very hard to be president for 4 or 8 years without some kind of major fuck up, you know? Like, it's a little bit like living your whole life without getting a record. Like, oh, are you 55 years old and you got a DUI when you were 22? That's terrible. I hate people who get DUIs. But you might not be a person who gets DUIs because that was 30 years ago or something like that. You know, like it's hard to do a whole lifetime or a whole presidency without just something that people are going to look at as a big blunder. And we can judge that blunder. We can be straightforward about it. I can be critical of how Biden tried to forgive student loans because I think he went about it in a way that was unconstitutional, even though I agreed with what he wanted to do. I can be mad at Obama for being careless with his drone strikes. People on the left were mad about that when it was happening. But I think specifically, even though we agree that Trump is a more egregious perpetrator of these sorts of constitutional violations, these sorts of overreaches of his power, these sorts of derelictions of duties, I think what's really important is that it's by so wide a margin that we're not talking about somebody who got a DUI 30 years ago. We're talking about somebody who gets a DUI once a week. Why do they still have the keys?
Dang. That was a great analogy. That was an incredible analogy. And I've never thought about it like that. That's really good. The way that you broke that down. Well, if you say it like that, and he's consistently, and the last thing I will say that is Donald Trump uses, the nicest way I could say it is uses hyperbole often. And then the most blunt way I could say it is lies to the American public often. That in itself should be a disqualifier for him to be the president. But I will say this as well. The last thing I'll say is I do, as a veteran, right, I do appreciate that he's gotten the disability wait times down in the lowest it's been in the last 10 years. And one of my things that I'm very passionate about is getting that 22 number down to 0 one day. And I think that could help out. But he's also done things that have been have not been in help of veterans as well. So I'm trying to weigh my options, but the way that you've laid it out, if he's getting a DUI every single week, we need to hand the keys to somebody else. That's fair.
I mean, is that a direct concession? Because we started by saying that you want him to stay in office, and are you saying now you don't want him?
I concede that was a brilliant, like, you've laid it out very well.
Fucking W's in the chat for the letter E. Or no, not the letter E, the number E.
The number E, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, when I was like referencing the constant E, which one is E? Is that the one that's like 2.71 or thereabout?
Yeah.
Yeah. Been a while since I studied that.
It's my favorite number.
Yeah, it's a irrational number. No, you joined the call and I thought, how is somebody who has an appreciation for like an irrational numerical constant a supporter of Trump? That suggests to me a better understanding of math and reason than most Trump supporters have. So I was expecting an interesting conversation. But W's in the chat for the number E.
I mean, if I'm posed a very solid argument to something, then yes. Now, again, like I said, there's things that he's very few things that he's done that benefited members. I'm a member of a couple communities, right? Mm-hmm. But for veterans in particular, I've thought, okay, he's doing a good job. But I can't sit by and look at all the other things that he's done wrong. With that being said, I appreciate your time. I think that you should bring that exact to other voters who may be on the Trump side. Bring that exact analogy. And if they're being genuine, they'll be like, oh, that makes sense.
One of the things I do on this show is that while I'm having conversations, I have this internal 3-minute timer going, because content that does well on the vertical platforms, like on Instagram, where I have a lot of followers, is limited to 3 minutes. So from when the moment that starts with 3 to 5 seconds that are really engaging, I have a 3-minute timer to make my point. And that's kind of going on in the back of my head. And I'm sometimes looking at the little ticker clock at the bottom that TikTok gives me. So when I have a moment like that with somebody like you, I regurgitate those arguments every now and then, and it's this thing where I'm throwing an axe at this target over and over and over again, and every now and then I package the concept so well into those 3 minutes, the axe hits the center of the target, and I go, that was the one. That was the clip that I can put on that was the clip I can put on Instagram, and you want me to get that argument to other people, and I might be able to do that. I'll review it later. I can't really judge very well just sitting here having lived through it, but me, in about 3 hours, I'm going to be sitting right here with Adobe Premiere open, looking at that moment, deciding exactly how to cut it in such a way, because I don't edit my clips. I only post monolithic clips.
I'm so sorry. My son's asking me to hang out with him, but you have a great rest of your day.
You go be a father,
Peace.
man. You have a wonderful day. More W's in the chat for the number E for having an open and serious conversation. But that was one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, I might have a good Instagram. I may have engineered a good Instagram clip where if that guy wants me to get that argument out to more people, that is what I'm doing here. That's what the show is for. And if that, it's hard to get lots of views on the W's. It's hard to get a lot of views on the moments where the caller concedes, because, the videos that do really well are videos where the guest is yelling. They're videos where the guest says something catastrophically unintelligent. That's entertainment. It's not the most productive stuff, but it promotes the show and it allows moments like the one we just had to get more eyes on them. So it's like a wildly huge compliment that person heard that argument from me and was like, you need to get more people to hear that argument. If you want more people to hear that argument, you should go to the link tree in my bio and follow me on the other platforms, because that helps more people hear those arguments. And if you really want to secure the fact that I get to spend every single day of my life trying to get more people to hear my arguments, you can vote with your wallet and support the Oskar Quentin endeavor by like sending me some money on Venmo or something. That makes it so I get to do this every day. Pam did that. Pam sent me $20 on Venmo, and she said, your help Splinter get hard fund. Did you catch the cheeky dick joke I left in there? Thank you very much, Pam, for the $20 on Venmo. I really appreciate it. Anyway, we do have somebody else in the queue. We got a couple people in the queue. B Flyer, you were from the previous stream, and I don't remember if you're one of the people who got it flagged. So I will try again with you, unless the mods tell me not to, if they remember which one you were. But we're going to talk to Chad. C-A-H-A-D. So I got to say it like that. Chad. Got to say it big. How old are you, Chad?
25.
Do you support Trump?
No.
Oh, I'll give you 10 seconds before I kick you, but I'm just looking for debates. You got anything you want to say?
I think America won't progress until we get rid of capitalism.
I don't mind you getting the airtime to say that. I've been talking with the Marxists, I've been talking with the leftists, and we agree about a bunch of stuff. I do think we disagree about the pragmatic approach, and I do think it's really important that we vote in the midterms. That's my position. Harm reduction is very important. We got to deal with the current fire before we try to redesign the country. Martin Seeger 177. Have I spoken to you before? The username looks familiar, but first tell me how old you are.
I'm 41. I'm from northern Minnesota.
Okay.
White Earth Indian Reservation.
Sorry, say that again.
White Earth Indian Reservation.
Oh, okay. Are you a Trump supporter?
I'm not really a supporter of any government actors, and I don't know. I think that you shouldn't be focused on Trump. I guess he doesn't really matter when there's more criminal activity happening right in this state than is happening in the federal government. The entire state is tyrannical. The state government is tyrannical. The counties are tyrannical. They're all acting outside of their authority. Just for instance, they just passed a new boat safety registration and licensing law, but our Constitution, the Minnesota state Constitution, says that all navigable waterways will be free highways for the people and can never be charged to use them. So that's a direct violation of our own Constitution. I mean, if you want to be complaining about criminals in power, then why aren't you looking locally, or like in your probably your own county government is acting criminally, and that's where your focus should be, not on the federal government and the president of the United States. He doesn't have much impact on your life, but your local county governments do.
I don't agree with your assessment of that. I think that Trump poses a greater danger to me and you than any local official.
All right. Well, guess what? I've never been asked for my identification. I've never been confronted by anyone in the federal government. I've never been asked to prove anything by the federal government, but it's my county government.
How many people live in America?
330 million or something like that.
Something like that. How many of them are you?
Just one.
Right. So
but I can tell you that
while I value your perspective, I value it equally to everybody else's. And there are just so many other people that it is not of great consequence that you haven't been you haven't had your civil rights violated by a federal agent yet. You haven't been assaulted by a federal agent yet.
I don't care if people have been when the state does it, when the state is violating people's rights consistently. Why do I care about the federal government when my state and my county governments are doing it consistently, and not just to me, to everyone around me?
I think you'd be singing a different tune with mace in your eyes.
I think you're disconnected from reality. I think you can't see what's actually happening outside your door, and you're focused on the news and whatever social media that you're on, and you're seeing this version of reality that's curated for you.
I don't know if you don't. I mean, like, I'm just gonna be a complete asshole about it because you're being kind of rude. But like, if we're gonna talk about civil rights violations and how they're affecting life here in Minnesota, I am the news. The videos that you are watching might be videos that I filmed. This is something that affects me very directly. You're saying that I'm watching videos, and I'm telling you that I'm making videos.
I'm not watching videos. I'm not experiencing life through my fucking screen. I'm out experiencing life, and I have seen people individually have their human rights violated, and I don't give a fuck about civil rights. Civil rights are rights given by the government. The government doesn't have the right to give rights. We have inalienable, God-given rights we are born with. And those are the rights that I care about.
So your argument is that I don't go outside and engage with the real world?
That's it. Yeah, you think, or if you do, you're probably in these protests with a bunch of people that are like-minded, that are equally as brainwashed as you are. So you never break out of that spell, that matrix, and you have a really skewed perspective of reality.
I think that it sounds to me like I am working really hard to include a more holistic view of reality. I want to consider the perspectives of all the people that live in this country. I want to consider the lifestyles of people all over the country. I want to consider the effect that somebody like Trump has on people other than myself, and that's going to extend beyond the state level. Like, I'm really trying to understand this in a way where I can really get down to what's actually important to prevent suffering in the future, because that's really what I fundamentally care about ethically. And all I'm hearing from you is like me. These are the things I care about. This is how this affects me. I'm just going to tell this guy on TikTok live that I know what he's like. I know how he makes his mind up. When you, like, not only do you, like, clearly not know me just because you don't know me, nobody online.
Defensive about it.
Nobody, I am, yeah, of course I'm defending myself. You're attacking me and my character. And I'm telling you that you don't even need to trust me when I tell you that I'm a different person offline who goes outside. I do go outside in my content. Like, I think that if you were aware of the content I've produced, you wouldn't speak this way about me, which is fine. Not everybody's going to watch every video I make.
I see your flag above your head, and that kind of gives me an idea of your personality. I mean, you're flying the butthole flag, so it probably means you're a sodomite. You like?
I think if you look at it, I think if you look at an 8-pointed North Star and the first thing you think is butthole, that speaks more about you than me for flying it.
I've been told that it was a butthole flag, and that's why it looks like it. And once
you're just believing what you've been told mindlessly? How funny! Some guy just accused me of doing exactly that.
What's wrong with our old flag? What's wrong with our old flag?
I think that in vexillology, it's really important that flags have minimalistic designs, and coat of arms flags from the 1800s, which was kind of the vogue back then, are just kind of bad in a graphic design sense.
Well, there was nothing wrong with our old flag, and it's not, and it's not a fucking coat of arms.
Do you disagree? Do you disagree with me?
Is not supposed.
A state seal, coat of arms, that sort of thing. Yeah. See,
a standing army is against the Constitution.
Yeah. Do you disagree?
What do we have?
Do you disagree with me that flags should be generally minimalistic? That minimalism is a good design feature for a flag?
I give a fuck less about a flag.
You brought up the flag.
The thing is the state of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota is an oppressive is an oppressive organization.
Wait, I have a question.
And it's
Can you answer my question? Why did you bring up the flag if you don't care about flags?
because it just shows who kind of type of person you are to switch over to that
Okay.
flag.
Then why did you
And
say that you don't
support it
care
and-
about
and
flags?
fly it.
And why did you ask me about my opinion between this flag and the old one if you don't care about flags? Because I had some interesting things that we could have talked about, but you, as soon as I said them, you magically stopped caring about the flag and wanted to move on to something else. Why is that?
All I'm saying is the flag that you are flying above your head says something about you. That's all I'm saying.
So
That's
you
the
do
only
care
thing-
about flags.
That's the only thing about the flag that I care about is that it says something. Like if somebody has an American flag hanging on their porch, that says something about that person. Would you not agree?
Sure, yeah.
Like you could make some prejudice about that person just by the flag that they're flying.
Potentially, yeah. I think that flying an American flag is such a broad thing. I don't think you can tell very much about a person by the fact that they're flying an American flag.
Okay, well, the old flag represented the history of this state.
The history of this state is racist and problematic, as is true of every state in the Union.
No, the current state of the state is racist. Is racist. And there are people in power. The people that are in power are not. They don't have the public's best interest in mind. They have their own best. I mean, I'm currently in a lawsuit against the state of Minnesota because they've deprived us of our inalienable God-given rights.
Do you think that an argument that's dependent on God is going to do well in court?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Because that's where all rights come from. They're endowed by our Creator.
That's not how it works in the
That's according to the law.
You can believe that. That's not according to the law.
According to the law. That's according to the law. That's according to the Declaration of Independence.
But the Declaration of Independence isn't the law. The Constitution is the law.
It's not the law?
Nope.
That's not a part of the law.
Nope, it's the Constitution.
You're saying that in Supreme Court, when you go to Supreme Court, you can't reference the Declaration of Independence.
Nope.
And it's never been referenced in a Supreme Court argument before.
Could have happened. I just don't think
It
that's how
has.
it's.
It
Sure.
has, and they
Yeah.
do. And guess what?
Wait. Slow down. Nope, we need to stop and address something. You asked me if something has ever happened, and I said, sure, probably. Do you think that just because something has happened one time, potentially multiple times in the past, that means it's okay and is exactly how the process is supposed to work? No, it doesn't.
When it's written down in a judge-made ruling,
Wait, I don't want to move on past this. Right, I understand that, but there's more precedent for the separation of church and state. That's what's codified, and that's what most of the rulings are about. So yeah, you can, it's a big country. We've been doing America for more than 200 years.
The Creator and your inalienable rights that you are born with have nothing to do with church and state.
Do you think that Jesus would approve of the way that you're speaking to me, just in terms of tone and how you're navigating the conversation? It's just a question.
Has nothing to do with it. Jesus has nothing to do with it.
He has a lot to do with my question, which is I want you to know, like, if Jesus was watching this conversation, which of us do you think he is, like, following his teachings the best, you or me?
Absolutely me. Absolutely 100% I am.
Why is that?
Because of my lifestyle, and you have no idea what my lifestyle is, so I can't.
Well, no, I'm not asking about your lifestyle. I'm asking about this conversation. In this conversation, people are watching and judging. You think one of them is Jesus. I don't. We can disagree about that, but there are lots of people watching. There are lots of people watching and judging, and I guess
you put words into my mouth, and you think God is on your side. You put words in my mouth.
Which words did I put in your mouth?
God is on your side.
Which words did I put in your mouth?
I think Jesus is following us. Jesus is watching us. Or anything about Jesus. You think I mentioned Jesus or even care about Jesus?
Oh, I'm mistaken.
How do you even know I'm even talking about
No, I assumed based on some things you said earlier that you were a Christian. I'm sorry. What do you believe in?
Okay, I believe that we have inalienable rights that we are born with, and our Creator has endowed us with them.
Okay, I don't think that, and the legal system in this country is designed in such a way that the legal system in this country is designed in such a way that it is good for both people that believe that the thing that you just said and people like myself who don't. The legal system is inclusive of everybody. I think it's very important that the legal system be inclusive of everybody.
So where do you think your rights come from?
I think that we humans decide what rights are. I think sometimes we make good decisions about that, and
so
sometimes we make
animals
bad
don't have
decisions.
rights. So animals don't have rights.
I didn't say that animals don't have rights. I said that humans decide what rights are, and we get.
So we can decide what
have
rights animals have.
Yeah, we do. We give them rights.
Okay, so we can decide that animals don't have the right to kill anymore, and now all of a sudden animals can't kill. Is that what you're saying?
We do. If like a bear gets into a neighborhood and starts eating people, the cops come shoot it. Yeah, we do that. Exactly.
So we can deny the bear access to territory with guns or whatever, but we can't deny that bear his right to unalive another animal to feed itself.
Yeah.
Well, if we could, then
we could, but it would be bad to do that.
The thing is you can't take away a right, because a right is something that you're born with, not given and not decided.
Well, there's two different kinds of rights.
No, rights are self-evident.
Our legal system, not all rights are self-evident. That's not how it works. You're mixing up human rights versus civil rights.
There's no such thing as civil rights. That's a thing that was made up by the 14th Amendment, or the government. That's the government can't give you rights. That's a civil right is a right given to you by the government, and those are not rights. They are privileges.
So what? You're like a sovereign citizen. You just don't respect the Constitution. You don't care what the rules are.
So do you have the right to vote? Do you have the right to vote?
I do have voting rights. Yeah.
No, you don't. You have the privilege to vote.
I mean, we can argue semantics. We could argue semantics. No. I agree with your semantic argument that you could. Excuse me, dude. People want. I'm trying to get your arguments out, and you're just not doing it in a way that's effective. Can you let me guide the conversation? I'm a professional at this. I want people to understand your perspective, and I'm trying to zoom in on the things you say and get you to explain them in a way that I think that people more than just me can understand. That's the professional skill that I have that makes me good at this. I taught public speaking for a lot of years. I'm capable of listening to a person say something and go, I get what you were saying, but I think you said it in a way that not a great percentage of people are necessarily going to get it. So I want to zoom in and give you an opportunity to explain these things. I actually agree that there is an important difference between human rights and civil rights, which is that they are in some sense privileges. I'm privileged with voting, and that privilege can be taken away if I do certain things. I recognize that as a semantic argument, but the fact of the matter is that our legal system still calls those rights. If you choose not to call them rights, that's fine. You have the First Amendment right to do that, funny enough, but it doesn't actually change any of the facts about what's happening out in the world. So we can disagree about the labels for things, but I really am only interested in talking about what's actually going on, and I just think it's a waste of time to sit here and disagree about whether or not we call these rights or not, especially when almost everybody else does call them rights. I'd recommend you use the words that everybody else uses. It makes you a better speaker of English.
I would recommend that people use the correct terminology, and if something can be taken away from you, then it's not a right of yours. Okay, obviously,
so go right up.
That is self-evident.
So I think
that's self-evident.
I think that I'm satisfied with the distinction between human rights and civil rights being the thing that determines that. Everybody else is satisfied, and if you disagree with that, that's fine. You can get on a live and tell people that. You just did.
Everybody's been brainwashed to believe that rights are rights and civil rights and human and all rights are civil rites. In fact, and people have been brainwashed. What I'm pointing out to you
is that what I'm pointing out to you. Excuse me. What I'm pointing out to you is that you're getting so. No, I'm going to continue to talk over you until you listen to my point, which is that I think that you're missing my point, which is that if you care so much about these issues, if you really care about what's happening out in the world, if you really care about suffering, if you really care about your religious convictions, don't you think you would better serve those convictions if you got less bogged down on semantic arguments, which is just a linguistic thing? The words are all a social construct. Humans invented the language. Like, none of that shit matters. You are unwilling to actually have a practical conversation about what we want to have happen in the world because you disagree with me about how to label these things, and I just think that's foolish, regardless of what your actual foundational beliefs are.
The thing is if we don't have consistent definitions for these words, it's impossible for us to communicate.
Well,
It's
I think
impossible.
I agree that the definitions have to be consistent, and they are. I just explained the way that I do have a distinction in the way that I talk about rights.
Let me explain how your distinction is actually propaganda, and it's aimed to influence the people and to convince the people that all rights are given by the government, when in fact all rights are given by our
I'm going to ask you a question. Do you and you and I disagree about the appropriate words to use for these things? Do you at least acknowledge that you and I agree about the difference between human rights and what I call civil rights, which you call privileges? Do we agree?
The one is given by the one is given by the government, and one is given by.
Yes, I call them civil rights. You call them privileges. Do we agree about how they work? I think you might have a problem agreeing with people that you disagree with about other things.
We agree on how they work. I think we agree that civil rights are granted by the government and natural rights are inalienable and we're born with them. If that's what you think, then then we can agree on that.
Right. So that's what I've been sitting here. So do you think it would be like you're going to really struggle? You're going to really struggle getting your position.
Because the problem is you're referring to privileges as rights. I don't care if the powers that be refer to them as rights, because they want us to believe. They want everyone to believe that the government is the entity that gives us our rights, which is in fact the opposite. We are the one that give the government the right to do anything. We are above the Constitution. The Constitution is above the government. We are above the government. They don't give us anything. They don't have the ability to give us anything. We can only tell them what they can do, and that's it. So civil rights are really, there's something you shouldn't be fighting for at all. You should not even care about civil rights. They are a psyop to convince the public that rights are bestowed to them by their governments. It's propaganda.
Hold on,
if you want to continue with that propaganda that civil rights are something to be fought for.
Okay, wait. Civil rights are a psyop.
Civil rights are a psyop.
Okay, what else? Hold on, I'm learning. This is really interesting. Give me more. I'm writing a new constitution.
Yeah, right. You don't have to write the new constitution. You just have to read the one that we currently have.
Hold on, let me get a different color for the next thing. What's okay? So rights are a psyop. What else? I want to make sure I understand your perspective.
Civil rights are a psyop.
Okay, yeah, I got that one.
Your natural rights. You were born. You are born with everyone. And check this out. Every person, everyone has the exact same rights when they're born. Exactly the same as one another.
Same rights at birth. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's in the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, okay. Wait, so why do you care about the Declaration of Independence more than the Constitution? I don't understand that.
The Declaration of Independence was the original idea for setting up the Constitution. The Constitution is the operationalization of the Declaration of Independence.
Operationalization. Try again.
Operationalization. Whatever.
Operationalization.
You got it.
Operationalization. Operationalization. Come on. I believe in you. Let's do it. Operationalization. You there? Operationalization.
You understand that, right? That the Constitution.
Wait, no, we have to get the words right. You care so much about the words.
The Declaration of Independence is the basically.
Wait, no, the words are important. You need to
the missions.
Operationalization.
So you're educated, right? You're a professional. You know what a mission statement is. Mm-hmm. You know what a mission statement, and then you know what your articles of organization are. right? So you come
Wait,
up with
hold
your
on,
mission
hold on.
statement.
I have some donors to thank. I don't want to get lost in the sauce too much. These are some big words we're talking about. I'm working on my notes so I can understand everything you're saying. Hold on. I just got to thank Katie for the $5 on YouTube Super Chat. She said, people mixing religion and government is why we now have the Heritage Foundation members in our government. As a woman, it unnerves me. Katie, I completely fucking agree. I know that type of nuanced argument's probably a little bit over the caller's head, so I'm not really going to address that with him. But Katie, you watch my show a lot.
I've never been to church. I don't believe in a Christian God. I'm an American Indian. I have my spiritual beliefs.
I'm not done thanking my donors. Katie sent another $2 just to say black people are still fighting. It's not a psyop. Again, Katie, I completely agree with you, but I don't know if we're gonna get that far with our guest. And then Isaiah, who sent me $10 on Venmo, he said, kick Martin for going against the 14th. Isaiah, I'm not gonna kick Martin for going against the 14th. I let people up on the show who hate the 14th Amendment all the time. It's kind of the whole point of the show. But wait, I'm trying to understand your legal perspective, guest. So rights are a psyop. And that we all have the same rights at birth. That's what I have so far. Let me get a new color for the next one. What's next?
Do you know that the 14th Amendment excludes Indians? American Indians. The 14th Amendment that creates birthright citizen excludes Indians not taxed.
No, there's only two groups that are excluded in the 14th Amendment.
What groups are they?
The children of an invading army or the children of ambassadors representing another country.
And excluding Indians not taxed.
That's been ruled on by this. That's been fixed. No, it
hasn't. No, it hasn't. In 1961, they created the 1930. They did the 1931. They did the American Indian Citizenship Act. The American Indian Citizenship Act was after the 14th Amendment. That's the act of Congress that created statutory citizens out of American Indians. Otherwise, American Indians are not citizens according to the 14th Amendment. That's the reason why they had to make the American Indian Citizenship Act.
Okay. So Native American, yeah, okay. So I have a lawyer in the chat who I trust. She says you're right about that one. I'll give you the W on that. But we do give citizenship to Native Americans, right? Now, currently?
Statutory citizenship, yes.
Yeah, I would probably be on your team about putting that in the Constitution, which is silly because you don't believe in the Constitution.
I wouldn't want to be a citizen of the United States of America. We are separate sovereigns living on the same land base. We don't have to abide by the American government's rules or regulations. We are our own sovereigns. We don't have to listen to any of your system's rules or regulations. That's the point of
wait, but then how? American. Wait, I'm writing down the rules. You said rights are a psyop, and you said that we all have the same rights at birth. If we're not supposed to respect the rights, I'm not. This isn't. Sorry, my notes aren't. My own notes aren't making very much sense to me.
Because our rights came before the government. Our rights existed at our birth, and our rights exist whether the government exists or not.
Well, I would say that that's accurate of human rights, but not civil rights, which you call privileges.
Right, the civil right to vote. The civil right to what? What civil rights do you have?
All sorts of. Oh, like due process and unnecessary search and seizure and freedom of speech and the right to bear arms. Right. A bunch of good stuff.
Oh, okay. Right to bear arms. That's a natural right.
I disagree.
To be
I didn't know guns grew out of the ground.
Yeah. What? Can you find guns in nature?
The right to you don't have to have a gun to bear arms. You can have a stick, and that could be an arm. You could use your hands or your teeth.
I don't think that's how people interpret the Second Amendment.
Why is the Second Amendment based around a tyrannical government? You don't just have the right to bear arms against anyone. It's against a tyrannical government, which requires a government to be in place. So it's not very natural.
No, we have the rights to bear arms. We have the right to defend ourselves. And those rights...
It's against a tyrannical government. You have to quote the entire Second Amendment if you're going to use the Second Amendment.
Those rights pre-exist.
I don't know why he's using the Second Amendment. He doesn't believe in the Constitution. I'm getting very confused. My notes aren't making any sense.
The reason I came up here was I was hoping for some clarification because he seems to be basing the distinction between human rights and civil rights as the difference in the government can take it away. But if somebody's on death row and the government kills them, the government has taken away their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So if the government can take that away, isn't it granted by the government too?
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you for the last 30 seconds. It lagged out for me.
Oscar, did you catch that?
Yeah, just try again. I want to hear him try to answer that.
Cool. So if you determine the distinction between human rights and civil rights as something the government can either take away from you or not take away from you, the government can take your life if you're on death row. That's them taking away your right to human life, like to life, out of the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Okay, so the government can take your life away for capital crime.
Right, so if they can take it away just like they can take away your voting right due to crime, what's the difference?
Because they don't have the right to take your life away. Because this is so they're acting ultra virus. They're acting outside of their authority because they can only be delegated authorities that we the people have. Do we the people have the right to take other people's lives away?
I mean, in self-defense.
In self-defense, okay. So then we can delegate to the government the right to take people's lives away in self-defense. That's it.
So then it doesn't seem like the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is a guaranteed inalienable right.
The right to life, liberty, and happiness. So the pursuit of happiness, right, is not happiness. And if you're born, you live.
Don't be a freaking semantics Nazi.
If you have your life taken away,
he is a semantics Nazi, though. We already covered that. We spent 10 minutes covering the fact that I call them civil rights, he calls them privileges. They're the same thing. Can we just move on in the conversation? Yeah. I got my crayons out. I'm trying to understand his perspective, but these notes are very confusing and contradictory.
You probably start eating them. You probably understand them better.
He wasn't in the army.
What do they taste like?
Or sticking them up your nose or something like that.
Are they good? Should I eat them? Are you recommending them?
Yeah, for a better understanding, please. No, I was not in the army.
I said Oscar wasn't. That's why he's not eating his crayons. Sorry,
I do believe in the Constitution.
Veteran, so had to make a stab.
Wait, you do believe in the Constitution? Damn it! Now this.
I do believe in the Constitution.
Fucking gotta cross all this out then. What the fuck? Need a new page.
Right, because
Shit.
So,
what?
So Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution, excluding Indians not taxed. Article 6, Section 2, the Constitution and the treaties are the supreme law of the land, and any laws created to the contrary notwithstanding. Those are very important parts of the Constitution to me that none of the governments are abiding by, none of the state governments are abiding by.
I'm getting lost.
Can I have you restate your original point?
Do you know my original point is that you shouldn't worry about the federal government and what President Trump's doing, and focus more on your backyard. Focus on your local government, on your county government, on your state government.
My counterpoint to that is that I do have the ability to both walk and chew bubblegum.
Joseph Belcher paid me $10 on Cash App just to remind everybody that this all stemmed from the caller being fucking pissed as hell about a boat tax.
A boat tax, yeah. Fuck their boat tax. Fuck the fucking state of Minnesota and their fucking boat tax.
You're gonna get a harassment and bullying flag. Watch it, dude.
It's okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just trying to protect you from the TOS.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of taxing nature either. I think we should try to get these taxes from the billionaires instead.
I agree on that. Yeah.
The thing is that money doesn't even exist. It's not even a real thing. It's not backed by anything, and they can print as much of it as they want. So I don't know. I don't understand what the point of taxing anybody is when they can just print the money, and when all bills are just printed money.
Do you know what a social construct is?
I know what a social construct is, yeah.
So do you understand the value of social constructs?
Slightly.
Only slightly?
Yeah, I don't really understand. I don't really see the value in this social construct we're in with the government and the dollars and all this crap. That it's all an illusion. It's an illusion. Things? So we all
do you trade?
Do you buy things?
We all decide. I try not to buy things. I try
yes
to
or
barter
no?
as much as possible.
Yes or no?
I do buy things, yes.
Do you think everyone in the world has all the resources available to them all the time?
Do I think? I think that the creator provides everything that we need. And I think that's
silly.
Dude, no, wait.
Wait.
On what day did God create chemotherapy?
We need chemotherapy?
Some people.
People with cancer sure do.
People with cancer sure do, yeah.
Huh, that's funny because every person that has cancer that I've known and has gotten chemotherapy, including my own mother, my grandmother, my friend's cousin who is currently on chemotherapy is dying because of chemotherapy.
Dude, you're not going to believe this. Everybody who has ever been born has died except for a few of us who are just ready to die here. It's crazy, man. Being born's a fucking death sentence.
Do you know what would fix
so
that? Funding for cancer research. Money.
Let's send people to the... No, it's not. Money doesn't fix anything. Money just exacerbates the problem.
It's literally the fuel that drives the engine.
No. The fuel, the want for money is the fuel that drives for the engine. And people in these positions of cancer research even, their executive salaries are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's why they're doing it, not because they care about humanity.
Katie sent me a $5. Hold on. Katie sent me a $5 YouTube super chat just to say Raven and I can't afford to ignore what the federal government is doing. I know being a straight male, he doesn't get it. I think that probably exercising a little bit of privilege, being so concerned about that boat tax while disrespecting everybody's civil rights.
Also, it's funny that you mentioned profits as a driving factor when I literally said that money is an important social construct. So,
it drives them into those positions. It drives the wrong people into the positions. It puts people in these positions who are money hungry, and that's their goal, is to make more money. And it has nothing to do with curing cancer or saving humanity.
Because the same argument could be said about guns.
What about it?
Only a certain percent of people use guns inappropriately to take lives.
What's your point?
So, should we remove the Second Amendment and take guns away, or is that just when it comes to money?
I don't understand the connection.
You said because if some people are greedy and hoard money that we should not use money as a concept.
No, I didn't say that some people are greedy and hoard money. I'm saying these positions attract sociopaths, basically.
So do guns.
They attract people that their only aspiration is to have more money, and those aren't the type of people
that really want to kill people are attracted to guns.
That's the incentive. That's the incentive structure that this system has created. This social construct that has created an incentive structure where people are incentivized to make profits.
Well, see, I'll agree with you that capitalism is evil, but money itself is not.
Money is a creation of capitalism. Money is literally their creation. They own it. Any money that's in your bank account,
it's a tool of capitalism.
It doesn't belong to you.
The base of capitalism.
What is it? Okay, if it's not only a tool for capitalism, what else is it? Is it a store of value?
It's a.
I like to call them coupons. They're coupons that we printed to represent value in a system that we all have to participate in because we live in a society. And when you live in a society, you get dumped into this social contract thing that Raven brought up earlier that you weren't all that interested in. So, God didn't give us the money. We made up the money to facilitate trade in a way that's less cumbersome.
Money is just a convenient way to quantitate value.
No, it's not. It's a convenient way to enslave a population.
It's been used to do so.
It doesn't quantitate value at all. In fact,
your same argument can be used about guns being used for evil. Do you not realize that?
No, it doesn't. No, that's not the same argument.
It incentivizes people to murder people because it gives them the tools to do so.
The guns are not designed for that purpose. Money is literally designed.
Guns are literally designed for violence.
Guns are not. You're saying that that going out and getting food is violent. killing an animal and eating it
killing
is
an
violent.
animal is violent, and the violence was enacted by the gun.
So
violence
if we
may be
didn't have that,
but it is still violence.
If we didn't have the pew pew, then we would starve.
Just like if we didn't have the money, we wouldn't be able to trade effectively.
No, we would not starve. We would still eat animals, even if we didn't have guns.
What about disabled people that can't go out and hunt?
Well, I guess in an ideal society, they would just die. Yeah, in an ideal society.
That's not ideal in my society.
Right. Okay, but you want a society of you want a society like Apocalypto.
All right, I got a question.
Fat people sitting.
I got a question.
That's an awful big projection.
Yeah, it's a big projection. Martin, I got a very specific question I want to hear your take on, but I don't think I'm going to have you up much longer because this is I'm running out of ways to find that you can contradict yourself. It's incredible.
Right, especially diving full blown into eugenics to avoid accountability is wild.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. But I do have a specific question.
When you allow nature to take its course, that's eugenics.
I have a question. What do you think society would be like if everybody in society had your mindset? Would there be roads?
It would be like society was here 500 years ago.
Oh, so dude, it fucking sucked almost everywhere.
Society.
Yeah, 500 years ago was bad.
You believe so? You believe so? Because our people didn't live into the hundreds of years old regularly. And they weren't just they didn't just sit around and just hang out at their camps, and then whenever they felt like it, they would go out and gather some food, and then they would come back to their camps.
You realize there's like records
Do you understand?
of human remains that show that they did not live to 100, right?
Yeah, we're doing better on life expectancy.
Okay, well,
What are you
there's
talking
records
about?
of my people living to be over 100. The Anishinaabe people. There's records, current records. In fact, if you go down to the Supreme Court building in Fergus Falls, they have a picture of John Smith. He died. He was 114 years old when he died. My grandma lived to be 107 years old. My great grandma lived to be 107 years old. My grandma
your
lived to be
great grandma wasn't alive 500 years ago.
But what I'm saying is that life expectancy has gone down, not up. You've been told that your life expectancy
In America has recently.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's all I know is America. I'm from America.
Throughout the course of history, it's generally going up everywhere on average.
Going down.
Japan's
generally going down.
No, that's just wrong.
In the Americas, it's generally going down.
Well, like since
recently.
COVID is what turned it around. Like we have this little blip in the graph that we're in the middle of right now. It's gone down a little bit. There's other issues like substance abuse and like obesity issues that are like we're not really crushing it right now. But on the that's just a local thing like this decade. If we're looking at the broad course of history, it's a squiggly line, but it mostly goes up. It's just that we're in a down squiggle.
I disagree with that.
Can I bring up a side point real quick? You mentioned 500 years ago how the tribes were living, but that was literally like socialism, but at I don't want to say primitive. That sounds insulting, but at a earlier stage of socialism.
No,
socialism is just easier when you don't have 350 million people to care for.
Right. So now to make socialism work for everybody, you do need some sort of like trade intermediate.
It wasn't socialism. It wasn't socialism.
Do you know what the ideals of socialism are?
Socialism socialism requires a government, first off.
I mean, we're talking about the base ideals, not necessarily a governmental structure.
Then that's just a good community, right?
Yes, exactly.
Socialism includes a government that has the
and we're trying to make a community
take
at
your
a literal
property.
national level.
No, the thing is socialism has gives the government the ability to take your property, which you put your time and labor into. You put your labor into it, making it yours, right?
I mean,
and then they can take that property and they can give it to somebody else.
You are describing our current structure, but I am also advocating for a pretty severe restructuring of our government.
500 years ago, there was no disabled people rolling around. I guarantee
Yes, because
you
they
that.
died.
Right, exactly. So,
and we're better than that as a society nowadays. The whole point, like, do you realize what one of the most like important milestones of humans like growth has been?
The internet?
It's when humans started taking care of their elderly. That's when we started seeing the biggest boost in progression since humanity started.
When did that occur? Because as far as I know,
I have to look up the exact date.
Because as far as I know, we're caring for our elderly less now than we had in the past. Because
actually, I would like to point out that instead of looking at it longitudinally by looking at when that started happening in human society, we can actually look at it latitudinally by looking at cultures that do that and cultures that do not, and all these particular markers of societal well-being that you seem to care about, like longevity and stuff like that, and like disability rate and whatnot. The countries that care for their elders, which are generally like the Asian or like collectivistic cultures generally, like that part of the world, they do way better on all that shit than we do because we're not caring for our elders as well.
Right, because they're not taught that they got to go out as soon as they turn 18 and get a job and move out of your parents' house and to go start a separate life from your family. But that's what we're taught in this country. But
yeah,
that's
I
not,
totally
that's,
don't
that's
agree with
not how
capitalism
it was.
about individuality. I disagree with that a lot, actually.
And that's not how it was here when the tribal societies existed, and that's not how it is here on the reservation. On the reservation, multiple generations live in the same household, and that occurs in multiple other.
I don't really understand what you're arguing when I'm literally agreeing with you.
Ezra has some sources, and I know we're. Excuse me, I'm running the show, and I was talking. I think we're just talking to a contrarian who's going to disagree with us about everything. He said he might be the most self-contradictory guest I've ever had on this show. So Ezra has some sources. Hello, Ezra. I'm going to give Ezra the floor, but I'm probably not going to continue this call much longer. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I actually have a lot of background in history.
She just.
Sorry.
Information about the history of medicine and the history of disability. Are you willing to listen to me about that?
Enlighten us.
So one of the things that I find really fascinating, and I bring up a lot whenever I'm talking to people about the history of disability, is there was a young man 4,000 years ago near modern Vietnam that actually had, they found that he had these cavities in his teeth. And they were trying to figure out what was going on. And they noticed that he was having some severe illness in his legs, probably what's very similar to modern day polio. And because they were trying to make him happy for the short life that he would have, even though they didn't have modern medicine, they kept feeding him prunes and making him happy and helping him to exist because they had genuine care for them. We have plenty of people, because of the history of disabilities and the fact that we know that there were these diseases from thousands upon thousands of years ago, the reason why it survives is because we love and take care of those people.
Absolutely. And the thing is that was not the government taking care of that person. That was his community taking care of him.
And I would say that
extends to the government. The thing is, governments derive from communities, right?
You do that on a national scale. You do it on a national scale, and then you invite a tyrannical government in because you're giving the government authority to take your property. And when you give
uneducated people voted it in, unfortunately.
Voted what in?
This tyrannical government.
Well, but he thinks the government's tyrannical whether or not Trump's involved. He thinks that Biden's administration was tyrannical. We're talking to a sovereign citizen.
Right.
Who, by the way, I assume that you moved to the reservation.
I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm an American Indian. I'm an American Indian.
No, based on the things that you've said, I would classify you as a sovereign citizen because
I'm an American Indian. We are sovereign at our inception. We are born sovereign. Every single American Indian is born sovereign.
Can I ask you a question?
That's the law.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
We have individual sovereignty. We retained our individual sovereignty.
He knows where I'm going. Did you choose to move to the reservation?
No, yes and no. No, not really.
Did you or did you not?
I choose to stay here. I moved here. My mother moved us back to the reservation when I was a child, but I've chosen as an adult to stay on the reservation. I could be out in Minneapolis. I could be in St. Cloud. I could be in Fargo. I could have a regular job. I could be a computer scientist. I could be an attorney. I could do anything.
So you do understand that whether or not you're a sovereign citizen doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you're a Native American. It has to do with whether or not
I'm not a sovereign citizen.
But you said that you have sovereignty and you don't respect the government. That's what a sovereign citizen is.
May I interject about something chat's arguing about?
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about the difference between American Indian and Native American, and in a lot of the Minnesota institutions around here that interact with the natives around here, they do use the word Indian, like the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So that may be where Guest is referencing.
Yeah, I exist in a sphere where saying American Indian isn't wrong. That's what the Native Americans around me want me to call them, Native Indians. I don't know. I whatever they want to be called, I don't care. But I know the Indian label is like falling off the euphemism treadmill in a lot of places. It happens not to have here in Minnesota for other people watching.
The thing is, American Indian creates a legal designation for the people. And it's defined by the Constitution.
But you don't recognize legal designations unless you like them. Like you're like a Christian who reads the Bible and picks out the parts you like. You read the Constitution and you use your feelings to determine which parts of it are valid, which makes you a fucking sovereign citizen, dude.
No, that's wrong. The thing is the entire Constitution is a supreme law of land, and the treaties are the supreme law of land.
Then why do you keep referencing it differently depending on whether or not you agree with the part you're referencing versus when you don't?
When the government acts outside of their authority, they're acting ultra virus and they're acting in a tyrannical fashion. That's the definition of tyranny, is when the government takes authorities that they don't have.
Can I ask a question real quick? You've had a lot of really big ideas, but you haven't actually offered any solutions or goals or paths forward. I'm just interested
learn to live without the dollar.
What you expect. Yes, but how do you expect to get there? What does that path look like?
That's an individual path on everybody individually.
No, we're talking about our whole entire nation here. We're restructuring our government.
The thing is we have different regions of the Americas, and there are different.
So are you just anarchist?
There are different natural. This is anarchy. We live in anarchy. When people don't follow the rules, and we don't have rules, we don't have rulers. We have people that are just
life is
running around
chaos. Yes,
doing
but we
whatever.
do actually live in a government structure.
No, our governmental structure is anarchy, because nobody in the government follows what they are supposed to be doing. They are acting ultra virus. They're acting outside of their authority.
What does that mean? Ultra virus. The chat keeps hearing that. What does that mean? What is that? I know you have difficulty with the meaning of words. What does that word mean?
Ultra virus means that they were never delegated that authority, and they have usurped it. They have assumed it, and now they're acting as though they've always had it. But they don't have it. But that's what they call acting under the color of law, where it seems to be lawful, but it's really not.
Path forward.
Yeah, you've got my platform right now. You got everybody watching. What should they do in their lives? How do we keep the roads paved if we're not gonna use the dollar?
You don't think people like to pave roads? You don't think people like to drive?
I don't think anyone's gonna pave a road for free.
Yeah, I don't think people like doing it.
I imagine they would trade their labor for food. If somebody had some food,
why not just add money into the mix so you don't have to trade labor directly for food?
We can use money, but we can't use the U.S. dollar. We can use.
That's so irrelevant.
We can use sovereign money. We can use Bitcoin or Dogecoin or something like that.
But it's still a currency. That's so irrelevant.
But the dollar.
You argued semantics, and now you want to argue dollar versus Bitcoin?
80% of the dollars that exist in the world today were created from 2008 and forward. 80% of them. They didn't exist, and then out of thin air they just made dollars. And every time.
But what is the cryptocurrency's value without an actual physical dollar?
It's a store of value.
Didn't somebody have that moment too with cryptocurrency like Bitcoin? They go, wait, we can do this.
No, Bitcoin, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. That's the max supply, and no one can create more than what the max supply is.
Right, but somebody still came up with that idea.
That still seems arbitrary
sovereign money?
and mutable.
Well, also,
it's not. It's immutable.
Technically,
it's an immutable public.
Well, I would just like to
ledger.
point out the minor factual inaccuracy there, which is that we will always be able to make more Bitcoin because we will asymptotically approach that maximum amount, but we'll never get there because it becomes mathematically more difficult, which is why the value is going to keep going up. There's an inflation principle that's built into the way that cryptocurrencies work that account for that fact. You're just ignoring the fact that it can be linear if you print the currency, but it has to be this logarithmic asymptotic situation if you do it by cryptocurrency mining. But fundamentally, I don't think you actually understand how any of these things work, so I don't know why I'm saying any of this to you.
I absolutely do understand how it works, and the thing.
I don't think you understand how anything works, dude.
Especially when you're trying to assert that a new trade median would solve the fact that a trade median is what is the root of all evil, anyways.
Okay, so say somebody creates a currency and they back it in.
But explain to me how two different trade medians is any different in like base theory.
Because of inflation. Because the dollar is inflationary and the other trade median is non-inflationary.
I literally just explained. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, Raven, but I literally just explained that these other trade mediums that he's offering, like cryptocurrency, are literally even more necessarily inflationary than something like the dollar. Explain yourself, Martin.
They're not If 80% of the dollar was created since 2008, and tomorrow they could just add 100% of the supply of the dollar to the circulating supply at the whim of the government. Then that
would be a self-sabotaging action.
But I think I had it wrong. I think I did the math wrong. I think what I just said is wrong about it being necessarily inflationary. I need to read more about cryptocurrency. I'm going to back out. You guys keep talking.
They create more dollars to devalue the rest of our dollars. That is a hidden tax. And the government, not only do they create dollars to devalue our dollars, then they tax us our dollars at the same time. So they're double taxing us because not only are our dollars going down in value year after year because of inflation.
You're harping me on capitalism when I agree with you that capitalism is evil.
The government is starting to use Bitcoin in a lot of ways and tax Bitcoin.
They can try to tax Bitcoin, but when they don't have a private key, they can't do nothing with it. And if they don't have consent,
to government regulation,
they would have to have consent of the bearer in order to tax it. They would have to have the explicit consent of that individual bearer, and that bearer could say, "F you, I'm not giving you none of my Bitcoin." And maybe they'll take them that person and put them in a cage. But if that's the route that person wants to go, then that's the route they're going to go. They can try to get that money from them through coercion. If all of your arguments are going to be
arbitrary in the end, what's the point?
If what?
If all of your arguments are going to be arbitrary in the end to the fact that you can just not follow the laws, what's the point?
Well, yeah, that's the kind of thing he says all these talking points he cares about, and then he just lands on I'm a sovereign citizen, I can do whatever I want. It just doesn't fucking matter. Like I'm mostly just
a sovereign citizen.
I said you're a sovereign citizen because you are. You have the political perspectives of somebody who's a sovereign citizen. You are one, whether you like it or not.
So what you're doing is you're actually publicly defaming me. That's defamation.
You are a sovereign citizen. Sue my ass and see if you respect the courts when the lawsuit happens. I don't care, dude. You're a sovereign citizen.
Right.
Sky's blue.
You don't understand where rights come from. You don't understand how the American system
you don't
jurisprudence
understand where
works.
rights come from. We already dismantled
absolutely
your
understand.
standard
Rights come
for
from.
inalienable
I'm born with rights. I'm born with my rights, and guess what? I have every single.
The
government can't take away your rights.
Watch him prove. I mean,
they're inalienable.
Watch
if
him.
They're inalienable.
They're inalienable and self-evident. They're inalienable and self-evident, and it's impossible for someone to take away your right. You can only relinquish your right.
I disagree with that.
You can only relinquish your right.
Law of the Wild.
Alex Preddy has.
Law of the Wild says he'll defend me in court if you sue me for defamation.
I don't think Alex Preddy and Renee Good have had their right to life hindered. I think they've had it taken.
Why did you use that legal term defamation? Did you want to get me concerned that I was doing something there were going to be consequences for?
I'm just saying, don't run around calling people. Don't be calling people sovereign citizen. That's you're putting a label on that person that is not. It may not be true, and it could have legal ramifications for that person.
Okay, so you were trying to threaten me in order to change my speech? I thought I had the inalienable right to say whatever the hell I want, and I think that you're a sovereign citizen based on your political perspective. Can I or can I not? Because you're making some threats.
I have a question.
As long as your rights don't infringe on my rights.
Do you think freedom of speech is inalienable?
The freedom of speech is absolutely inalienable. Yes. In fact, the thing is you can say whatever.
The government's actively suppressing the freedom of speech as we speak in New Jersey. They have freedom. They have First Amendment zones.
They put tape over your mouth.
They are arresting people that express their opinion outside of a First Amendment zone.
So first off, they did express their. So you're saying they did express their opinion, but outside of a First Amendment zone, right?
And they had government consequences for expressing their opinion. That is literally.
I didn't say that there's. I never said there aren't any consequences.
Do you realize what the First Amendment is? It's the protection of consequences from the government for expressing your opinion.
But it doesn't diminish that right. It isn't diminished. You still have the right to say whatever you want.
Not if you're having consequences for it.
No.
Not from the government.
There's consequences to every action. There's consequences to every action.
And you're not allowed to receive consequences for speaking your opinion from the government. You can get consequences from private entities like jobs and such, but not the government.
Right, but and they can give you consequences all they want, but that doesn't mean that they've taken away your right.
Is there fair consequences, though?
It doesn't mean that they've taken away your right.
How does it not? Just because if you're not free to express yourself, how do you have a First Amendment right?
You are free to express yourself.
Not without consequences. That's literally the wording of the First Amendment. The entire spirit and intent of the First Amendment is to protect you from consequences from the government. Getting arrested and beaten is consequences from the government.
Right. And that's the government acting ultra-virus, outside of their authority, which you guys advocate for when you say that we should have a social.
It's ultra-virus. You're pronouncing it wrong. That's why everybody thinks you're saying ultra-virus. At least get it right if you're going to be a douche about all these things.
Have you ever listened to an attorney say the word?
No, it's a new term. I had to look it up. I was confused about it for a long time. I had to.
It's not a new term. It's a term. It's a term
new
that
to me.
Existed in.
New
okay, and when every attorney that I've ever listened to them pronounce it, they have pronounced it ultra-virus.
Okay.
Martin, how do you?
A lot of people say nuclear incorrectly. What's your point?
Right.
Martin, what do you think suppression of the First Amendment would look like? Or, excuse me, not suppression. You said it was an inalienable right. So what do you think it would look like if somebody were to take that away?
They can't take it away. You could scream your head off in cuffs, in the cop car, in jail, everywhere you go.
Okay, but you did mention taping your mouth shut. What if they do tape your mouth shut? Is that taking it since you
away? Yeah, I guess
seem to
you can wave your arms around.
Thing?
I mean, I guess they could strap you in a tight jacket and then tape your mouth shut, and then you'd be unable to express anything.
So, are you aware that freedom of expression is not literally defined as speaking your voice out loud?
It's not literally defined as speaking your voice out loud?
No.
Right. It's any form of expression. It could be
right,
a
so
song.
Then what does taping your mouth shut have anything to do with that? I don't think you understand what the First Amendment is.
But he also doesn't care, which is why this conversation hasn't actually gone anywhere.
But he says he does care about the Constitution, just only certain parts of it.
Yeah, I mean, he started by saying he was a constitutionalist, did he not? But he's demonstrated that he's not. He's a sovereign citizen. Which there's another sovereign citizen in the YouTube chat that's mad. He's saying that I'm calling him a slur when I say that. He's trying to claim sovereign citizen as a slur. Oh my god,
it is a slur.
You don't have to be. No, it would only be a slur if you couldn't choose to be different. But you can choose to support a different political political perspective, and then you'd stop being a sovereign citizen. I think
I'm not a sovereign citizen.
I think that slur is only the appropriate label for words that refer to a group of people who are stuck being that way, which is why we can say all cops are bastards, and the reason that's not hate speech is because you choose to be a cop. You choose to support these political perspectives, and that makes you a sovereign citizen, and it's not a slur.
I didn't choose to be a I choose to be sovereign. I didn't choose to be a citizen. That was imposed upon me.
Can we define citizen real quick?
So wait, hold on. Raven, we'll get to that in a second, but so you do recognize that you're sovereign, and whether you like it or not, you're a citizen, correct?
I'm a statutory citizen due to the Indian Reorganization Act, but that
Hold on. Citizen is a noun, sovereign is an adjective. Are you a citizen, yes or no?
I'm a statutory citizen according to the
That is a statutory citizen a type of citizen?
I don't believe it is a citizen. No, I don't believe. I don't believe
fucking dodging the questions. There's no talking to this down
I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't think this guest is very intellectually
I don't believe
honest.
that the legislative branch has the authority to create citizens out of a foreign, out of a group of a foreign nation. Right? The Congress can't just unilaterally say that every Canadian is now an American citizen. Can they? Do they have that authority?
That would be silly. We're sitting here arguing semantics. That would be a very silly thing for them to do by legal definition, but they could technically do it.
Okay, but at the same time, it's okay for them to say that all American Indians are now citizens, even though American Indians are sovereign foreign nations.
Hey, Martin. Is the United States and Canada actively working together in order to form some sort of agreement where they have dual citizenship?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Whereas the natives and the U.S. government are.
What natives?
Native Americans.
American Indians?
Sure.
You're saying that American Indians had some sort of say when the Indian
I'm not saying it was fair,
when the Indian Citizenship
but there's an active effort
happened
to live symbiotically within the same borders. Yes.
As citizens. You're saying American Indians want to be citizens of the United States.
No,
is that what
I'm
you're
not saying that. I'm saying that in order to participate in our systems, they've been given a somewhat status of citizenship.
You're saying American Indians want to participate in your system.
I'm saying it's necessary.
No, it's not. We stay in the woods.
I interact with people all the time that come from the reservations.
That's fine. There's a lot of brainwashed people that come from the reservations who want to be American citizens.
All right, we got to wrap the show because we're at 2 hours.
And
I've got one more question. I've got one more question for Martin before he goes. Do you guys, Ezra and Raven? I really appreciate you hopping up. You mind if I kick you?
Absolutely, go for it. Love you all. Love chat.
Hey,
you guys have a wonderful day. Martin, I have one more question for you. Stop doing whatever noisy thing you're doing. Can you answer one more question before we go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you eat breakfast this morning?
No, I don't eat breakfast.
Okay. Do you think that you'd feel differently if you had eaten breakfast?
Absolutely not.
You don't think that you'd feel different if you ate a big breakfast, even though you're a person who normally doesn't eat breakfast?
As far as this conversation goes, no. But maybe I'd be a little bit...
I kicked him. I actually didn't expect him to fail the breakfast question. Wow. Anyway, that's a little bit of a go Google. Did you eat breakfast this morning? It's a test for checking if people can manage hypotheticals. Anyway, Google that on your own time if you want. But it's a recurring tool I use on the show. Thanks everybody for making it all the way to the end. I appreciate it very much. If you enjoyed the show, you can go to the link tree in my bio and find it in its complete form after the fact on YouTube. There's like 100 hours of me up there if you want to binge me. If you want to support me on the other platforms, that's also really helpful for what I'm working on over here. And it doesn't cost a dime. If you have a dime that you want to spare, you can send it to my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. Or if none of those methods work for you, because maybe you live in another country or something, you can let me know. We can work something out. I need to find like a better place to send my international donors to. But I gotta thank the donors because this is my full-time job now, and I absolutely am ecstatic that I get to run the show full-time. It's a crazy, crazy privilege. Very, very excited about that. Did I cross 70,000 Instagram followers during the show? No, Still 69.9. It'll happen soon. Seriously, though, thank you guys so much. It'll be 10 to 12 Central Standard Time. Not Central Standard Time, Central Time, because Daylight Savings has happened. Blah, I got to fix that in my vocabulary. Anyway, Central Time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this coming week. I will be doing the show 3 hours late at 1 p.m. Central Time, because those are the last days I have at my day job that I have quit to run this show. So if you want that to be less scary, go send me some money on Venmo or something so that I can pay my bills. It's going great, though. I'm feeling pretty comfortable about like being an influencer now, and I just, thanks everybody for watching and liking and double tapping on the screen and all that stuff. I will see you guys in about 22 hours right here on TikTok Live and on YouTube Live, because I do both now. Thanks everybody for hanging out.